first proof of life beyond Earth. Lowering oxygen, more carbon dioxide. That's beautiful.
You're finally a daddy. It's gonna be a big custody battle over this one.
Are you gonna bring the Martian back to Earth?
No, we're gonna keep it up here. We're gonna study it where it's safe.
Look how fast it's growing. Every single cell is a muscle cell and a nerve cell.
All muscle, all brain. How smart is this thing?
I just watched 2017 sci-fi horror flick called Life, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds, and Rebecca Ferguson. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station are on the cutting edge of one of the most important discoveries in human history, the first evidence of extraterrestrial life on Mars. As members of the crew conduct their research, the rapidly evolving life form proves far more intelligent and terrifying than anyone could have imagined. Let me first say that I am not a fan of horror movies. I don't enjoy being scared, terrified, disturbed, or stressed when watching a movie. But I do love sci-fi, so watching this movie was a bittersweet experience. The premise of this movie is when everything goes wrong when discovering alien life. It's very simple and has been done multiple times, but does have enough going for it to get under your skin and stand out from other sci-fi horrors. Just when it gets predictable, it gets interesting. It's not original or groundbreaking per se, but it is serviceable to the genre by building true tension and suspense until the movie runs out of ideas. Luckily, it's not as heavy-handed in symbolism like Gravity, despite the title, but not as iconic as Alien or Event Horizon, or Sunshine. Oh my gosh, have you guys ever heard of Sunshine? It's an amazing sci-fi trip. I mean, it's by one of my favorite directors, and like the Human Torch gets frozen. Like, okay, sorry, you should watch it. Now I have to get back on track. What was I saying? The characters are only passable as knowledgeable astronauts that have personal lives shoehorned in, only for the sake of trying to make you want them to survive. Jake Gyllenhaal is the most experienced astronaut who has an unspoken conflict. Ryan Reynolds plays himself since he's charismatic already. Rebecca Ferguson has a smooth voice and a pretty face for the humanizing doctor. And the others are just the diversity hires that honestly needed more screen time. I am more drawn to no-name actors since that creates real suspension against stereotypes of A-list actors with plot armor, like Tom Cruise in 90% of his movies. The characters still follow the frustrating stereotype of claiming to be experienced and professional astronauts, but they'll drop all intellect when faced with an impulsive or emotional dilemma. Like, doesn't NASA screen for hotheads and people who selectively play by the book? But I suppose how interesting would a sci-fi movie be if the leads were level-headed and calm? That's how you get Ad Astra. When making a space horror movie, you should be guaranteed gruesome deaths, and Life spares no expense on giving the audience gritty death scenes. I think this movie is self-aware to the point where it knows the people who are going to see it are going for the horror tropes that the genre is known for. I don't want to spoil anything since this movie revolves around a plot twist, but I will say this is a movie any horror fan needs to add to their watch list. Critics were actually torn on this one, with Rotten Tomatoes giving it 67% and Metacritic giving it 54%. When you think about it, horror movies are difficult to critique since most of them thrive off of cheap scares and parlor tricks, so you don't really have a level playing field to compare to. Life was made with a modest budget of $58 million, and it collected $100.5 at the box office. It's nothing too impressive since the genre is a hit or miss with audiences. Space horror movies are a dying breed since you can only tell the same story so many times, but Life, finds a way. That was my Jeff Goldblum impression, in case you couldn't tell.